saying.
According to Lucas, a shitty one.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, Lucas, what is Applebee's closest to? Chili's?
Applebee's is closest to funeral home.
Yeah.
It's closest. It's closest to a morgue. That's what it's closest to.
At least people can die in funeral homes.
Yeah. That's why. No, people are, at least they can celebrate life and stuff. All you do in Applebee's is celebrate $2 drinks from your divorced family. I don't know.
You know, I used to work at Applebee's when I was like 19.
I'm looking at it, and I
see. That's why you play Android 18. Makes a lot of sense now.
It makes complete sense.
The first thing that come up that looks like it here is like scores.
Scores
looks like.
Jay, before Yuvraj and Jay both bail on us. So are we recording?
I've been recording this whole time.
Okay.
I'm just waiting.
Yeah, guys, I want you. I'm gonna ask you, put Yuvraj on the spot for a 2-minute take. Okay. Okay.
No, I'm good. I'll stick around for a few minutes. It's okay.
No. It's funnier if you're on the clock.
Do I shoot this intro? Do I say it's Team Talk 9? What's going on here?
Yeah, just do it up.
Let's get it going.
Welcome, everyone, back to Berserk Team Talk. This is Berserk Team Talk number 9, and we're going to be talking about Armando's tier list he made here, about what's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, Rogue, and what else what was the other tiers you had? Nerfed.
So
best of one.
To be clear, we're
sponsored by Applebee's.
No, we are not. Okay.
Yeah, sponsor that list by Applebee's. Now I get where Jiren and King Cold War makes complete sense.
Really quick Applebee's anecdote. So, my coworkers and I are going out for lunch. We drive by the Applebee's. I say, "Man, my friend hates that place." Reference to our last episode. You should watch it. It's hilarious. Lucas goes on a rant about why he hates Applebee's. Anyway, my coworker goes, "Good." Coworker goes, "Good. I hate Applebee's too. They actually microwave their food," and I died.
That was an Applebee's completely removed from the one that I've been to. And the best part about that was the one thing I got was working at a gym. There was a gentleman that used to come and he said, "Oh, I went to Applebee's with my son." He's just like, "Have you been there recently?" I'm like, "Fuck no." He's like, "Good. I got mashed potatoes and they tasted like bleach because they were using bleach to clean the pots and pans and didn't rinse them properly." And he said his mashed potatoes taste like fucking bleach. Just let that sink in. Maybe it was to color them. I don't know.
So I was thinking you were exaggerating.
No.
Oh my God.
No. We're all doing it in jest. We're not trying to defame Applebee's. That's rule number 1. Okay.
Yeah. Take it away.
It's all for the purpose of humor. Anyway,
if they don't want to be famous, we'll make them infamous.
Okay, so we're talking about our tier list today. I drafted a tier list. I've probably only played 25 or 30 games of Dragon Ball post new ban list, so not a lot of games after the ban list is released.
Oh yeah, only. What the fuck?
Only 25 to 30.
You play every tournament is like 3 rounds, and you've played the equivalent of 10 tournaments, like online tournaments.
Well, okay, I probably play 5 games a day, and it came out 4 days ago, so that's give or take 20 to 30 games. So, anyways, neither here nor there. I've drafted a tier list with my minimal testing. What I think is everything's here, and we'll post a picture of the tier list. Hopefully, in the video, it can be inserted somewhere. If not, I'll link it somewhere. But yeah, our tier 1, I have Gogeta, Cell Surge, Soul Striker, and Launch. Tier 2, I have Majin Buu Green, King Piccolo, Kid Gohan Icarus, Vegito, the Blue Deck, Hatchhyack, and Jiren. Tier 3, I have King Cold, Kid Goku, Starter Vegeta, SS4 Goku, the black one, Green Gotenks, and Mass Saiyan Reboot. And what I'm defining as a rogue tier, I have Xeno Shinron, Green Broly, Android 16, Cooler Mill, SS3 Goku, and Shinron. Nerfed leaders we want to talk about are King Vegeta, Vegeks, Blue Baby, and Dark Broly. And best of 1 leaders that I think are good choices for best of 1 tournament is Red Broly BR, Android 18, Zamasu Blue, the Blue Deck, Toppo Yellow, Jiren Yellow, and Tien, the Green Deck, the World Martial Arts one. So that's the quick rundown of my tier list. These guys are going to either agree, disagree, cut up, or however you will. Yuvraj is on a hilariously short timer, so we're going to have his takes first.
All right, thanks for putting me on the spot there. So
Thanks for talking. It was great.
Tier 1.
And I just don't care what anyone else has
Tier
to say.
1. You know, there's only one person that really knows the meta on the team, and it's obviously me, the guy who plays once a week. Tier 1, I basically agree with all of it. Gogeta Xeno, I think, is probably the best black deck right now. And then Soul Surge, just a really strong deck, only getting better with the nerfs. As there's this aggro, he's probably the most aggressive deck, plus the super fast hand control we can put out is pretty hard to deal with for most strategies. Soul Striker, yeah, I mean, it's Soul Striker, nothing to say there. The only one I'm not 100% sure on is probably Launch, and that's partially down to my own inexperience with the deck. I know it fell out of popularity the last set or so, just because it was, obviously it tries to be a little bit more defensive and kind of outvalue, but with all the aggro, that wasn't as viable, but I mean, I can definitely see it.
My hot take is I actually think King Piccolo is the best red deck in the next set, but I asked for feedback from multiple sources, and a lot of people told me swap Launch and King Piccolo, so I crumbled under the pressure.
I was actually going to say, if anything, looking at this list, I would swap King Piccolo and Launch, because I mean, I know King Piccolo well enough to say it's still a strong deck, I think, going forward. Especially after, you take out that turn 1, turn 2 kill with the King Vegito, which was my favorite deck, not the turn 1 FTK kill or version, but
Jeez Lord.
yeah. Dude, just stop, alright? I'm still gonna Frieza Deathball you every game.
Yeah.
Tier 2. Tier 2, I think the interesting decks there, or interesting leader in my opinion, is probably the blue Vegito. Mainly because it was so popular when it released, but then it kind of fell out. But I can see that. I think I might even go a step forward here to say I would say Starter Vegeta and King Cold both could be put up a tier. I definitely think King Cold can. Starter Vegeta you can debate. Jiren Lucas is definitely a better expert than I am on it. But after the 2 games we played, he didn't hit his curve, and I was just like, okay, if he doesn't hit his curve, this deck is actually super easy to manage.
So you're saying Jiren sucks is your hot take?
I'm not saying he sucks. I think Starter Vegeta is probably still a better red deck than Jiren. So I'd probably swap those 2 around and then bump up King Cold. Other than that, so for Rogue, can you define a little bit more what you mean by Rogue? Because I think OG Broly and SS3 seem like solid picks.
Everyone has their own kind of opinions on what tiers are, obviously. So for me, tier 1 is a deck that can win a tournament. Tier 2 is a deck that will likely top a tournament. Tier 3 is a deck that can top a tournament with the right pilot, right? And you'll see it played. And then Rogue tier is decks that, like, if your matchups go well and you get paired correctly, you can do well. To me, like, the Rogue tier is basically like an anti-meta choice or an extremely pilot-dependent choice where it's like you're taking this deck and it's a shot in the dark and maybe you'll high roll all day, like Green Broly.
Fair enough. I don't know. I think you could probably put Green Broly into like the tier 3 where you'll see it. It can with the right pilot top. It is a good deck.
So I wouldn't say
say
Rogue is lower than tier 3. I would say Rogue is just like basically undefined. Like could be tier 2, could be a trash deck. Who knows?
Fair enough.
Less
Fair
represented.
And then yeah, I agree with it because I was gonna say I think SS3 and Broly are both probably ones we could put into one of the tiers. But the way you'd find it like that, then that makes sense. Nerfed King Vegeta is all I'm gonna comment on and say it wasn't just nerfed; it was massacred. All right, I've tried after that list. I have tried so hard to just try and enjoy playing it. You can't.
It's going to be my $400 local stack.
The four things I was fine with getting rid of that is all good. But as soon as they hit that, the errata with the field where you have to pay an energy for both effects, not just one or the other, it's not worth it. At no point do I want to pay 2 energy for a SSG Vegeta to the next level, only for it to be counterplayed by any counterplay. Plus, at this point, if you go first especially, and you play a invader on the other side, and pay your energy for that, sure you get the crit, but you're losing the resource because it makes sense for your opponent to just on that first swing combo it off. That's one less resource and one less card you have to play, and then next turn that's another.
You're matching an energy for an energy instead of you plussing, right? So it's like
exactly. Yeah. You're putting them behind curve, if anything, because next turn then you have to get another energy out of them for them to get another invader out. Dark Broly. Yeah, I definitely think, I don't know how big of a nerf the 1 energy is going to be, but it's definitely better than free playing the 30Ks. It's definitely going to slow it down a little bit. Maybe people just get around that by playing the 1 drops more and then using the ball to go through instead of warping 6 and tapping an energy to play them until later on when you get to turn 4 and so, as games seem to be doing.
so.
With Jax, I have no comment on. Baby Vegeta, I think. Yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you and say, just give me your best deck in every color you think for the format.
Best deck in every color?
Yeah.
For the format, okay. For red, I want to say King Piccolo, because red's what I know best. Black, Gogeta Xeno, I agree with. And blue, Soul Striker, has to be. It's weird. For green, yellow, I kind of just want to say Cell Surge, because
That's just the one.
Yeah, exactly. It's 0.5 green, 0.5 yellow. It's still the best deck in
exactly.
both colors.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I don't really know. I don't know the yellow pool well enough, to be honest. I'd still say Mecha. I was going to say Mecha Frieza, but I'm like, oh yeah, it was just banned. They didn't even errata it. That's how little I cared about it.
Golden Frieza in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Honestly, post. That's something we might want
Post
to
anniversary bucks.
Yeah, that's something
Yeah,
we might want to
it looks like a fun list. Green. Honestly, I would say I don't know Boo well enough. I saw the list you posted, but I haven't played against it and I haven't seen much of it. So I'd still say King Cold if you viral all day. Like that deck's amazing. So that's probably what I would go with. And on that note, I'm gonna pop up.
Thank you for your input.
Take it easy, buddy.
Thank you,
Thank
Bruce
you for
Lee.
sparing 10 minutes for the fans. All right. Who wants to jump in next? I actually think that's probably a better way of doing it. It's just give me the takes on you agree with and disagree with on the ban list, and then tell me what your top decks are for each color in the format.
Well, mine will be quick here, so I'll go next. So tier 1, I'd say the same thing. I think King Piccolo is better than Launch from playing against both of them. I don't know. I haven't played a recent Launch list, though. It's still been like a set or two. But King Piccolo, I've always... That deck, fuck that deck. With the 1 drum now, I don't know still, but whatever. I still think that's the best red deck. The thing with Jiren being tier 2. Why the hell did you think to put Jiren tier 2?
Yes. Okay, and this is again from my obviously personal experience. Whenever I play Jiren, honestly, I'm running probably 14 1-drops, and I whiff 50% of the time off my leader skill.
Right.
And when you whiff off your leader skill, you're like, damn, my turn's done. Mm-hmm. Instead of taking a life, playing a card, and drawing a card for the ultimate plus, I'm actually just taking a life for nothing.
Yep. And
it feels real neg. And then also, if you don't have the 5-drop that lets you take a life with the permanent, I find your chain can get popped, and then it just sets you so far behind.
So I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying it shouldn't be tier 2. I'm saying it should be tier 3 or in hell. Don't get me wrong. I like the deck. I think it's fun, but competitively, in my top 6 hand, there's been so many times where I draw my 6 cards, and I'm like, there is no Toppo unison here. I'm putting 6 back, and I go and grab 6, and I still don't get that fucking Toppo unison because you need that.
You draw into 6 1-drops. So
yeah, you're just like,
my deck saturation is nothing.
Yep, it's just like, oh great. Well, when I can't wait till I top 7 and see all my Toppos and none of the 1-drops, Because that's happened too. Because with the Unison, obviously you want to keep one drop in hand plate at the end of the turn, get your full maximum value evolved targets. It's a cool deck, but then again, it's got a boss monster that I think is really cool on the turn you're going with it. That I did it on. I did some playtesting on stream today and swinging basically dual double 35k and then bumping your leader up and then Kaiing on your leader. That's 6 double strike swings that are pretty hard to deal with, and you can't lineage it because it's an 8 cost. So you're fine to basically go balls deep unless you're against Sin Shenron with a haze. And I don't know.
The 35k meg ignoring barrier is super relevant too, actually.
Yeah. The funny thing was, it was an AOD match that I was doing against Inquity, so he had just the Bobbity on board. Like, he had the Bobbity and a couple other things. I'm just negging the Bobbity. Get that shit out of here. Like, it's 1k. This is complete overkill, but get rid of that. But I think it's a fun deck. But against anything that has removal, like especially Dark Broly now, of course, content, but Xeno Gogeta, there's no fucking chance I'm going to keep a single evolve target. I have to force for the 5 cost. Just because the 5 cost, I can take a life instead or ditch 2 cards under it because that's the only Jiren card with protection. So that was my thing. I think that should go lower and King Cold go up to tier 2 instead, just because I don't really know how good Boo is. I think I might have played it once and it didn't really do anything. And I was playing King Cold and won the match. So obviously that's not a good determiner of which deck is better in general in the whole card game. I don't know. It just didn't seem like it did enough.
You kidding me? That you've never played me argument is the best argument.
Yeah, that's true. There we go. You never played my Majin Buu deck. You should see it. It's fucking wild. Trying to think. I don't even have the list in front of me. This is all the top of my head. Set 7 Zamasu, probably what I'm going to play on Friday, but that's tier 1 easily. Most consistent deck. You can't even draw on the leader. You can only top 5. You don't find the Unison all game. That I was playing against Jay there. Didn't find the Unison at all. But still,
look out the buyout.
I'm glad you put it on there. That's all I'm saying. I'm glad there was a Zamasu deck on there.
Being able to top 5 for the best counterplay in the game, even if that's the only good thing, the best counterplay and one of the best super combos in the game, is still decent.
Yeah, and then
it's just that's the only thing the leader does.
Yeah, if you're running mono blue, that really doesn't apply like I am in this list. So, I'm just doing the tragedy overground, that shit. Fun as hell. But I think so. What the best leaders for each color? Red. I'm gonna go with King Piccolo. It's gonna be almost the exact same as Yuvraj is here. Blues.
Cop-out,
gotcha. It's cop out. Yeah, this is exactly what it is. The hive mind. Blue Soul Striker. It's I like. What other blue deck is gonna be better than Soul Striker that comes out? Like, I don't care if Soul Striker is. Like, there could be ones with better effects or whatever, but awakening every time you swing and drawing a card is still going to be better than any fucking Tapion, Harudagarn, whatever bullshit deck they come out with. They're just going to be, you know what, those pieces would go great in Soul Striker.
I think Soul Striker is going to get banned eventually. Not anytime soon, maybe next set. But yeah, because you're right. It's absolutely too good, and it's the only tier 1 deck that didn't get a hit from this ban list.
Yeah, and then again, I interrupted you there, Frank, but Karl, I called you Frank. My God, I'm gonna. But yeah, I'll get in the car.
They look similar.
Yeah, they're exact same. But
you get the same goatee.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the point that sure, Soul Striker, even if it falls to tier 2 or anything like that, what other blue deck's gonna go up there now that Baby's hit? Like, what could they make that you'd be like, you know what? I'll use it in this deck instead of Soul Striker. Like, what would that deck have to be? It'd have to be ridiculously busted, or the cards would have to be very strict to that leader archetype. But there's just, I don't know. That's the problem with Soul Striker. It's like Mecha, where Mecha, besides being broken and everything, is just, why would I play another yellow leader when I can do stuff in here and do it for taking a life and playing extra cards for free, right?
It's facts.
So that's what I think about that. Karl, what were you going to say there, if you even remember?
Well, for my part, as I said, like, in
Carl's taking the mic. You're done, Lucas. Good job.
That's fine. You already knew green was going to be King Cold and yellow was going to be Super 17 just because I got the SCR in the mail today. So there we go.
Well, what I was saying about Soul Striker is that it should have been banned like at the same at the same time as Mecha Frieza, because like we all said, it overshadows any blue deck that's hello.
Welcome, Nick.
A wild Nick is
Look
showing
how wild Nick has appeared.
So yeah, I think it should have been banned. Like you said, like if this goes out, there's not much of a blue leader that's gonna have a broken effect. But like for now, that Soul Striker just overshadows any kind of blue deck that's really existing right now.
Mhm.
So that's what
My
I wanted
Android
to say
18
on
would like to talk to you.
that.
So, okay.
Well,
So
This is an
Karl,
Applebee's enjoyer.
any suggestions for changes in the tier list I posted?
changes, I won't say. I think like the tier one is pretty on point. Maybe like the thing between the launch and King Piccolo, but I really don't have a big play rap sheet against those two decks. Maybe more launch, but when she was like on the red green side or the blue side when she took the invoker spin.
Mhm.
But I think like the tier one deck right there seems really good. On my part, for playing like the Xeno Gogeta with the skillless or whatever build you're gonna play, I think that the Goku might do the Kid Q version with the skillless and everything might do better than expected. Because the both of the decks are pretty much the same. They have the same way of functioning, but it have a little different strength of play. The Boo, I didn't have any reps against it, so I cannot think of any play or how it is going to perform. I think one of the deck that looks really good to me that I have a lot of reps against is that the skillless Gohan, yellow Gohan. I think with the right palette, it can do a lot.
Yeah, that's a good deck that I probably should have put into either Rogue or Tier 3 because you're right. Or sorry, no, I have that in Tier 2. I think. Let me check.
Yeah, the Kid Gohan's tier 2.
Yeah,
Tier 2, but I think it's gonna surprise a lot. Yeah, I can like I'm thinking of one of your teammates, Frank Whitebeans, that piloted the deck really awesomely, and I think with the right palette, that can do a lot.
but my argument is it's basically the same deck as Soul Striker. Like you're playing the same card Soul Striker does, and Soul Striker is just a better deck, right? That's like
yeah, true.
Then again, what other yell leader would be the best? Like, not Cell Surge. We're not counting that here.
yeah.
But
I think it's the best yellow leader. I think that's the highest ranking yellow leader I wrote.
Yeah, for once, it's been a long time since Yellow's been taken down such a peg because of one fucking leader being banned. Because when the original mecha got banned, everyone's like, "Oh, Ginyu, let's go on this
Yeah.
train."
Well, are we taking account of anniversary box right now?
No.
No.
Okay. Because I was about to say Golden Frieza, but that's
Yeah,
another
like I said, I think Golden Freeze is actually going to be a sick deck. Post
Yeah, it's
anniversary.
gonna be
It's gonna
insane.
be insane.
I agree.
And we talk about like the Green Decks, Boo and King Cole, but one that we're gonna sign any tournament is gonna be the Videl version with the Gogeta package.
Yeah, the green black.
Yeah, I think you didn't put it on the list. I don't know how well it's gonna perform because I didn't see it. Like the build with Videl seems pretty consistent. Missing something like on the other strat of all the skillless build that we have, the Kid Q, the skillless Gohan and everything, the Soul Striker with the Gohan engine, everything. So I don't know how it's gonna perform, but for now, with the playmat,
That's why Videl Gogeta's not on the list because there's a better
Yeah.
Gogeta leader.
Well, I for sure it's not on the list, but it's gonna be seen.
Yeah,
Good.
that's true.
And yeah, that's my thought about it. I think like King Cole's gonna be in a good space because everything's slowing down right now, and they have like almost. For my part, I think they have almost one of the broken negates in the game right now.
Royal Supremacy, the free one.
A free
Supremacy is-
pop 3 energy. That's the best thing about that deck.
Yeah. So yeah, that's like for everything on the list. I'm pretty on point with that. I won't disagree. Like I'm gonna play around with the nerfed Dark Broly, but it's far gone for now.
Yeah.
I
So
think.
I think if we go back to running like Dark Broly like you used to with the balls and the like the red balls, the recycling, the Matoa, and the one drops, like it sucks because you're gonna have a lot of 0+0s, but the format's slowed down now, so you don't have to worry as much about getting aggroed really quick.
Mhm.
And I think Dark Broly does. I think it's still playable. I just think like it's probably tier 3 or lower.
Yeah, it's gonna be watered down, and I'm not sure, but like, isn't that the Black Paragus that can set back one of the Broly's in active mode or something like that? Or
No,
give
there's an extra card that lets you restand a Broly, and then the Paragus lets you rest Paragus and give one of the Broly's crit.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I was thinking about it, but yeah,
Could
like
be a fun
for
locals deck. Giving
Yeah.
crit, making it very hand control esque, like
Oh,
even
yeah.
more so.
playing the Devilmans again.
Too bad
There
I'm
you
playing King Vegeta at locals every week. till I get my value out of it.
Oh man,
So why did you
yeah.
keep one energy up? Oh, so I could play a baby on your turn.
So yeah,
Oh,
that's
jeez.
that's my thought about it. I think yeah, seems good. Seems cool.
Okay, toss it off.
hmm
Pass the mic, Carl. Oh, and Carl, pick a toy to play with, please. I would very
Pick a
much
toy.
like to see.
Pass it
I'll
up
go
like
ahead and
Piccolo.
jump in on this one actually. Yeah, I mean, just the tier list that you put out, I think it's pretty spot on. I do agree that King Cold, I think, should be up to at least tier 2. I don't have much reps. Nice. I don't have much reps against the Majin Buu deck, but yeah, I feel like King Cold is definitely stronger than Majin Buu. And like everybody here knows, I mean, I'm definitely a fiend for Android 18. I mean, the mill deck I've been running into the ground for the past few months.
Yeah, admittedly, though, would you call it a rogue deck?
I would. I would say it's a rogue or a best of one, definitely. With the meta going where it's at, I think it might surprise a few people how things are slowing down. Because simply, I want to get to turn 4, turn 5, and the big issue that kind of made it into a best of one rogue deck was a lot of the fast aggro. It was really hard to deal with those. But as the meta's slowing down, I think the Android 18 mill is gonna be really good. But the only reason why I wouldn't bump it up from best of one or rogue is because there are other rogue decks in the meta that can really mess with this deck. Like the discard Brawly. I mean, if you play against that, I was playing against Jonah there last Friday, and he went first. Turn 2, played out 2 Paragus to sacrifice, popped off 2 Demonic Restraint so he can awaken. Swung in. I had no battle cards. He removed my field card on his turn 2, my turn 1, and it's a big L. It is a big L. So because of that, I definitely wouldn't bump it up past there. But with the right matchups, the right pilot, it definitely has the possibility to get into top 16. I've taken it as top 19 when the meta was a lot faster. So I think it has a place. But yeah, for the most part, I think you pretty much hit it spot on, except for the King Cold and the Boo. And like the Dark Brawly, I don't even think it deserves a place. It's kind of, you take that, you put it back in your bulk box, and you just don't think of it again.
Now, what are your thoughts? Because you're a mill player, what are your thoughts on Cooler Mill with the Oceanus negates? Do you think that's something that's playable, or do you think it's something that's like a more viable or less viable mill strategy than Android 18?
I was thinking about that too.
So the thing is, the only downside to the cooler, I think it is a very viable option. I think it has the extra play aspect that is actually trying to kill your opponent, and the mill is just kind of like sugar, the icing on top of the cake. When the Android 18 is the reverse, its main way is mill, and then if it can't get that, then somehow I've had it where I'm able to swing in with a triple strike and just out combo my opponent, but 1 out of every 50 games, you're going to win by taking all of their life with the Android 18, and that's being generous. I do think the cooler will have a place. It's harder to disrupt the mill with the cooler than it is with the Android 18. And the Oceanus with the Dark Brawly ban, or Erratus, I think is definitely stronger, because beforehand, you didn't want to do Oceanus against a Dark Brawly. because they're just going to fuel their deck
Punch
and they're
through
going to run. Yeah, they're going to punch through you and just keep playing their 6 drops for free. So that definitely makes the deck a little bit stronger. I think Cooler will surprise us, but I think it's kind of going to get put back away once the anniversary box comes out. So yeah, we'll see. But I think that's about it on mine. And I like to see the Gotenks too. I haven't had enough play against it recently, but I've heard a lot of chatter about it.
Even if it doesn't change, Gotenks is just such a consistent deck. Like, I used to hate playing against Gotenks because I'm like, man, I know what their first 3 turns are, like verbatim, every game.
And also, like, I also one other, I guess, for green. It's not on the list, and I don't even know if it deserves a place yet. I'm just play testing it and whatnot. But with the meta slowing down, I'm revisiting Clash Goo Kaioken. Me and Nyden actually just had a few matches there. And the game, the thing itself, it slows the meta's being slowed down. You're trying to get to turn 5 with that deck, and it's running 14 floodgates in total on the deck. So it really helps me get to turn 5. Between the 4 Majin Boos, 4 Toppos, 2 Pan Unisons, 4 Dormant Potentials, and then all the Krillin blockers, it's pretty easy to get to turn 5 without awaking.
Quick vote. Does Karl come back with a beer? That's the question. No.
No, I didn't know that.
Is that his Pokemon cards?
That's his
Oh,
Bible, the
that's
10
all-
Commandments.
Yeah, the Bible.
That's the leader bander.
Pulling out the Clash Goo.
I was hoping for the beer coming out, Karl.
It's already empty.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Passing it off to Nyden, Frank.
Yeah. Go
All
ahead,
right.
Nyden. Let's hear yours.
Yeah. So I think your tier over here is pretty spot on as well.
I
Though
think
there's
your
a few
tier was a crash.
Though I do think there's a few things that like I would change, or at least like I wouldn't count yet, because like like this new set is like pretty fresh. There haven't been like anything like big. Like, we haven't had any like huge regionals or huge like tournaments or competitions like with this new set that's come in, so we don't know yet. So things like Boo, Jiren, starter Vegeta, Reboot, Master Saiyan, the Super Saiyan 3 Bardock. Those things like I agree with this just off of like my own experience, but again, I want to bring attention to like King Piccolo. When that first came out, people said it was trash. Same thing, like it's like unplayable. He started 6 life, horrible. But then as the meta went on, it started topping. Everyone went, "Oh my god, this deck's amazing!"
Wait a second, I play everything for free?
Right? Yeah. So like that's why like I'm just bringing that to everyone's mind, because these like any of these decks could have that happen. But one thing I do see missing is I think that like Red U7 Gohan is something that like that you could watch out for. Yeah, that one. Yeah, because
I think you left it off for a reason.
I think it has a lot of potential, man. I mean, you draw on your turn, draw on your opponent's turn, and just having constant value, like constant 11k combos. I mean, it definitely has potential. The one thing.
The art's beautiful on them. Like, the art on the cards is so good.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
This is coming from the man that was shit talking that Frieza about how bad it was, and he makes it go.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm like, this is the best unison in the game.
There you go.
Yeah. Though I want to bring attention to just the start of Vegeta and Bardock and like the Gohan and stuff, because when it comes to those, I think just requiring you to play a 2-cost unison and have it on board in order to like just awaken or like do what the deck wants to do, it's really restricting. And if you don't hit that 2-cost unison, you are screwed. You're gonna have a really hard time playing the game, especially in like especially Vegeta and Gohan, the U7s. You're not doing well without a unison. Whereas decks like Jiren, for example, I think it could still play without a unison, because obviously it'll suck. It'll be less playable.
It fucking sucks without the unison. Being a Jiren player, trust me, it is almost impossible.
I have Jiren too, man. I've been playing it. I know exactly how it feels. But you can still somehow get the 1-drops from your leader ability. You could have like your negate, who like that brings out a 1-drop from the drop area. So it's still playable, is what I'm saying. Whereas the other ones you're screwed if you don't like get your unison. So that's what I think. Just on the general meta, where like we shouldn't judge yet, because as the past has shown us, and also just present, we don't know how these decks are going to do yet. But for your tier 1, I agree with everything. I don't have any experience with launch. I've played like maybe 3 times against launch, and I've won like twice, so I don't know. I don't really know what it does. All I know is that it draws a lot. So especially when the meta is slowing down, it can definitely do well. Tier 2, King Piccolo. Well, it's done really well in the past, and now that the staple aggro decks are gone, I definitely think that it can creep its way back and it can do well again. And yeah, I agree with the rest. Hatchhyack, no comment because I despise that deck. Absolute bane of my existence, especially during set 8, I played a yellow baby. The second I'd see that leader, I would be like, oh.
Which yellow baby? Because the starter had a good matchup against Hatchhyack.
Now look, not for me, okay? I never did well against that, man. Because it's all playing cards, man. You play your first baby, so you play your Dr. Miyu, who then plays your baby, and then you rival by comboing them, and then with Hatchhyack, you play the Dr. Miyu. That's it. You
No.
baby. That's it.
You're thinking Toppo, man. The Hatchhyack only stops you from swinging. You can play as many cards as you want.
Swinging, right? Yeah. Oh, never mind. No, that works, but still, swinging is just. I don't know. I don't like that deck. But I will say, after losing many times to it, it can definitely do well, especially in a slower meta, and where there's a lot of more boss monster oriented decks, and less swarmy, like King Vegito, first turn kill. It can definitely do well. Your tier 3, again, King Cold, like everybody else said. I think I would bump that up a tier or 2. Maybe bring it to tier 2 because King Cold has done well in in the past few tournaments. I'd see.
I got clapped by it.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I lost in the 3 mana finals to Joe Blanco. He smoked me actually okay. It was 2-1. Every game was a blowout, but I lost 2-1. I won 1 game and lost 2, but he absolutely skinned me on the last game.
Well, yeah, your wolves were also fucking horrible from the top of your deck.
I warped 2 super
and no Goku. It was just well, I got Vegetas in there. Too bad it was super combos, but I got nothing to fuse them with. That was a complete neg.
Yeah, and I think I warped the secret. And as soon as he saw that I warped the secret, he's like, "Sweet, I can go in, and he can't do anything to steal my cards." And I was like, "All right,
That's fun.
ideal."
Yeah, and just to go back with the Hatchhyack, it's gonna be really good with that card now.
Yeah, everyone's got one on their. Oh, no, wrong one. Shit. Everyone's got one on their desk.
Yeah. Oh shit! Where's my? I don't have one on my desk. I'm fucking dropping the ball.
Yeah, you're not building enough, man. You gotta. That engine's gonna go in every deck now. Because
Oh man.
I gotta look for that card.
I'm about to try it in Soul Striker.
But that's another fucking card that where we talk we talk shit about it. We talked shit about it before, being it has no protection, whatever. If it did have protection, it'd be too busted anyway. But people are making decks around this now. One, it might just be because of how fucking cool the SBR looks. Best looking card in that set. Probably best looking card for a while. But yeah, it's stupid strong if it gets to stick for at least 1 turn. You're completely clearing a board, and that's why Hatchhyack's coming back. As everyone is just let me just get to turn 4 now. I can slow everything down and fuck you up.
It forces your opponent to have the answer. It forces them. It's not just a do you. It's if you don't, then on my turn you're gonna neg 4 again, and you're clapped. That's the game. And he's a blocker. He's a blocker that is triple attack, and beyond the triple attack, still restands at the end of the turn. That's stupid.
Oh no, you're forgetting about the whole permanent part too.
Yeah, it can't be. Yeah, sorry, Hayes. Hayes doesn't hit me.
Yeah, so he goes in rest mode, and then he gains protection. So yeah, exactly. Hayes can't hit him, and all the other problem things that can destroy a high cost card like that. And then Nick disappeared. What?
Jay's not here to make his submissions, but he did specifically tell me he wanted to discuss why I put Sin Shenron, the yellow one, in Rogue. And I do think it's a great yellow deck, don't get me wrong, but I think it fills a niche of needing to go to turn 6, right? And it runs the risk of playing against a blue deck that's going to God Sealing all your dragons when you top 6, and then Super 17 you the next turn. or like Denial of Hope killing half of your dragons, or Black Decks just warping them. And then, to me, it has a few too many negative matchups. And you're going in hoping that your opponent's deck can't aggro you from 8-0 by turn 6. And to me, that's kind of a tall order now. It's not like it's not as easy to stay defensive as it used to be, because so many decks have instant speed removal or removal that's like as they're attacking. So I mean, the 9-drop Sin's still a really busted card. So, but to me, it's like it's a deck you're not really going to see played a lot. And if you do see it played, you should have a plan for it. So I think it's in the rogue tier. It's a rogue strategy deck, I would say. I don't think it's like a tier 1, tier 2 strategy. I don't think you're going to see that many yellow Sin control players.
And the aggro version, what do you think about it?
Well, the aggro version had the teeth pulled out of it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's
the cell nerf.
exactly cell and pan.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if my opponent gets me from 8 to 3 life on their turn 3 and they can play that dragon with triple strike and I don't have an answer for it, good for you, man. Like, I'll take that out. If I took it, if you got there and then I didn't see it coming and you smoked me with it, all right, that's an I'll take.
And I have a leader I've been thinking about. I talk about it with Frank like during the day. Do you think this leader is gonna be seen now because we're going with white boards all over the place?
Okay, so as a complete aside, that leader can draw and take a life when he swings, and he's green, right?
It's green.
Yeah. So that's pretty. Is he an untapped too?
He might be untap 1, draw 1 by that
Yeah,
time.
no, he's untapped too.
So that's actually, honestly, he's got like his base is pretty good for a green leader. Like most green leaders suck. The problem is you're never getting the quad strike off on the awakened side. If my opponent puts that leader down and I give myself 4 battle cards and give the leader quad strike, like I'm quitting the game.
True. Like, but I'm leaning like if like Xeno Gogeta where you swarm the board, Piccolo where you usually just need to swarm to do your thing, it might see plays. I don't think it's gonna be like the thing, but I think there's some people that's gonna try to slide in and try with it.
My problem is it's not like it's a hidden quad strike. It's super telegraphed, right? So I think it's good. I think the stats are good. And I think if anything, it does better because it forces your opponent to keep a small board. So if you're playing green, for example, you don't have to run dormant because you know your opponent's not running a five card wide board. You don't have to run as many floodgate cards because you know you're only dealing with 2 or 3 attacks a turn. You could probably play like blockers and healing pod or something like that. So I think the leader actually has some space, like, but I don't think like if it was beyond game 1 of a tournament, like if it's game 3 and I'm sitting down across from that leader, I'm like, yo, you're stacking. Yeah, I do like his art sick too, though. Like, and he's a green Goku, so I don't know. There's support. It looks like we have a Nick present, a low res thin screen Nick present. Nick, do you have any comments on the list? Or are you saying as a silent partner? One comment. What is it?
Okay. How horrible does this sound?
Sounds like you have a pretty bad cold.
Yeah.
Then I'll go back on mute.
Seems that you're
he's like my comment is that Cell Surge should be tier 0. That's
Yeah, we understood that.
Wow.
Okay.
okay. That's another quick discussion. 0.5 tiers. How do you guys feel about that? When people say, "Oh, that's a tier 1.5, tier 2.5,"
Sorry, what'd you say?
When people say tiers, like, "Oh, this is tier 1.5,"
What happened to S and A and all those things? Like,
that's
come
for
on.
clowns, man.
That's what, exactly. Yeah. Go watch my tier list video on that. Great.
It's not anything like that. It can't be. But understand that as a joke.
I just like
Now,
rounding
one
shit to
thing-
even numbers.
One thing I want to bring attention to is that with any of these rogue decks or any of these decks say, under the right circumstances, like it'll do well. If no one's expecting it and you just fly under the radar, you can pull out something great. I mean, I remember back in like set 8, set 9, like someone like top like number 1 with the like male Janemba, just because no one was expecting it. Because if everyone's expecting it, they're gonna sideboard and it's done, destroyed. But then some decks like Sin Shenron or like certain mill decks or even that Goku you mentioned, if no one's expecting it, just that surprise factor can really catch people off guard and you can go pretty far with it.
Same as that Black Mass Saiyan deck that top like out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, it was like
exactly.
6 months ago. It
Yeah,
topped and you never saw it again.
Vegeks,
Yeah.
the worst deck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Black Masked Vegeks, yeah.
So
Speaking of
yeah.
decks, I think it's still good.
I think
No,
yeah.
you're
it's still
capping.
good.
You guys are capping.
I mean,
I
look,
think it's still good.
you have the same mill as any other black leader now, but everything else is still the same. If any mill leader becomes like relevant or like meta or whatever like that, everyone's gonna use Vegeks. Doesn't matter.
so
I think as long as Vegeks there, mill is never gonna have like a consistent top spot in anywhere.
So 18 gets around Vegeks pretty well because it just mills in one go. So the thing is, the errata to the Vegeks actually makes it harder against 18. Because beforehand, with the Burst 5, people would focus the Sparking 20 to be able to awaken. Now, it's not a possibility, so then they try to cut to 4 life, which is a hell of a lot easier to do. But yeah, before the errata, they would Burst 5, Burst 5, Burst 5, play a few cards. It'd come to my turn, there's freaking 32 cards, 26 cards left in their deck, and then I'd mill them for 36. So the Vegek matchup actually wasn't bad beforehand, but I'm glad people are playing less of it because yeah, the errata actually made it where it's a much harder matchup against 18. But all the other mill decks, they had no chance against Vegek, which is the reason you won't see Janemba come back and whatnot.
I mean, arguably, Janemba is in a space right now. Like, Janemba, I think, is a decent rogue pick right now, but I just don't think it mills fast enough. Like, if I was going to play a mill deck,
Yeah.
I think Cooler mills faster now, and I think even probably Xeno Shenron mills a little bit faster than Janemba at this point, because you're
Yeah.
milling like 4 cards a turn on the Awakened
Yeah.
side.
It's also
Yeah.
just the leader permanent just cripples it.
Yeah.
Because like
No God
Oceanus,
Sealing?
God Sealing, all of these different cards you just can't put in.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor Janemba. That was my favorite deck once upon a time.
Yeah.
Oh, it was good back
Honestly,
in the day.
I'm really surprised by you putting Tien in here. I didn't think I'd see that.
That's because Nick specifically was like, you got to put Tien in there.
I'm looking like Tien. I'm like, who plays Tien?
Okay,
Well,
let's
man.
not get ridiculous here. Tien is fun. At least
You
swinging
might as well
20k
put in
crit,
Napa at that point.
20k crit with your leader. Throw a Kai on that, 30k double strike and pop one of their cards. That feels great.
And the combo with that Goku and Tien on the battlefield is pretty good
Yeah.
too.
Oh yeah, those are the only thing that make that deck even like remotely playable. Is those 2 cards that are actually like pretty strong for being World Tournament cards.
The opening play of that Chao Zhu that plays the Barrier Tien from deck, that's actually a sick play. Like, I don't think Tien's a terrible deck. I don't think it's a good deck. But I don't think it's terrible. Like, the problem is it loses to such goofy stuff. Like, any token clearing, you're like, damn. Any like if your opponent plays Black Mass Saiyan, you're like, shit, I can't awaken anymore. So,
No, you can awaken.
no, I think the playing 3 tokens is mandatory.
Yeah, but on that leader, it actually doesn't get affected by BMS.
Oh, because Awaken's a keyword skill.
Keyword skill.
Yeah, no, the thing was Secret Identity. That was the thing that destroyed that deck.
Yeah,
It was
and,
just one of those, and great.
GPU.
Well,
Holy shit, I learned something, man. I'm gonna build some.
I think I still have it.
We're
I
also
think it's still
friends.
right here.
Wait a second. There's a really jank card I just remembered that would destroy Tien. I think it's called like Hidden Power of the Saiyans or something. It's a really bad card, but like you tap 2, and if you're against the Tien and they awaken, they're discarding their hand, man.
Yeah, they have to draw 4. That sucks. That was like the anti-open attack where you made them drop 6 for
Yeah.
How to
God,
kill,
that card's trash.
how to kill a climax.
All right. Any closing comments on the tier list?
I'll just say that while the anniversary box is not out yet, I do think Super Saiyan 4 Bardock will do some good, or at least it'll be fun to play. It won't be trash. It'll definitely be good.
I think
Yeah.
it's a pretty solid toolbox, and I think
God.
it has something. If somebody can kind of figure out which way to run it and which direction to go with it, I think it'd be same thing. I think it'd be really good. And of course, we can't ignore.
I think it's
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm getting feedback on you. There you
the
go.
aliens were
And-
speaking. We're back.
Yeah, and like I said, of course, with the anniversary box, we can't ignore the Golden Frieza. I feel like that's gonna come in and ruin some people's days.
Okay, what are you guys talking about? What does Set 1 Golden Frieza have to do with anything?
Dude,
Have you
dude,
not
all
seen
the
these
Sheila
lists?
Limo,
Yeah, you see
stuff
Nick's
are coming out.
laughing.
It's not for
Oh.
Sheila Limo. It's definitely not for Sheila Limo.
There's a ton of Frieza Army, green and yellow Frieza Army stuff coming out. So everybody's just going to play Lemon Lime Frieza with it because it's infinitely better than that crappy.
Kill something, untap 2.
Even playing Skyon, Saiyan Skyons to play the 2 1-drop Kokonos, the green Frieza Army guy, that's like a decent play because you can draw one and untap one, and then if it's not answered, draw one and untap one the next turn, right? So it's pretty good. Or draw one and untap 2 on the Awakened side. But yeah, that's
Just as a closing thing, I'm just gonna say Bardock. I mean, is the first deck to have like energy effects. Place an energy, get an effect, and it's really good. Like there's a Bardock, you place an energy, you can get rid of a marker from a unison. Another card, you place an energy, and your opponent, you choose one of your opponent's cards, gets rid of it, they draw one. And I was testing against Frank, and he's telling me like, oh man, you got some pretty good cards for me with that. I was like, oh really? And then they're very small, almost like negligible effects, but they're free. You get it from charging. Who
And you
knows?
can run that
There's the one
Roshi.
that if you charge, you can also negate the skills of a battle card 4 cost or less, which can be
Exactly.
pretty huge too.
Yeah, it worked. It worked great against your blockers.
Yeah,
I don't
He
that
kept trying to use blocker Krillins and like, nah, they're negated.
I don't
think
think that'll be tier 1, but you'll see people play it just because it does something different, right?
Yeah, but
And it's
I
SS4.
true.
Yeah.
But the thing I see it is that having access to any color is gonna be like a core deck, and it's gonna be like so versatile that you're gonna see so many different style of play with that deck.
So,
You
but
can do all you want.
I agree, but people said the same thing about Toa Expert deck.
yeah, and so the core of that Bardock deck is like 40 cards. So you only have like 10 slots
32.
there. Okay.
The 32.
Super combos, negates. Okay.
It's got the
Right,
King
right.
Cold problem. That's what it
Yeah,
is. It's,
Exactly.
It's that you could potentially do something, but then you're gonna have to kick it up to a 60 card deck, and then it becomes more inconsistent. And then it's just like, why did I put this tech in when I could just have the core and a couple, maybe one-ofs or an overwhelm here and there? But yeah, because it seems like everyone's been pretty adamant about putting the 4 Roshis in to combo, get your effects with the energy, which, of course, I think is great. And same with the SCR, where you refresh your energy basically every turn.
That's a spicy tag.
That's
a
fucking
spicy
great.
tag.
Oh,
Is it at the end of the turn to be like, bam?
yeah, it just well, anything that you had, I'm doing all those effects again. And I don't know, just thinking a black deck could basically do a Vegeta's final flash in the combo step by comboing that Roshi and putting the Goku there, and then just something 4 less. That's hilarious. It's just like, oh, you got a 4 cost that's got double strike or triple strike. I don't know what 4 cost is triple strike, but oh, there you go. Oh, it had crit. No, it doesn't anymore. Thanks for giving me that free life.
Yeah, it's from what I've played, it's a consistent turn to awaken. You can awaken at like 6, 7, 8 lives turn 2 like all the time.
But there's no advantage to it. Like, you're almost better to stay on your front until you can get 4 different colors in your energy.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, not really, because 4 different colors, black counts. So you charge 2 multicolors, you're at 4, you awaken, you draw 2, and then every turn you're getting rid of a marker, you're tapping a card, you're drawing 1, you're untapping at the end of the turn.
So the thing is you have to get black red, black yellow, and then black green if you want to get 4 different colors, right? Because like you can't count black twice, so it's like turn 3, turn 4. Maybe I can see Awakening being worth it, but like I would never combo into play 2 cards to get the turn 2 Awaken because I just don't think it's worth it in terms of like.
You only need to combo in 1 with it, as long as it's a color that's one of the multicolors that you don't have as your energy, because you can play black, yellow, whatever color you want as the combo, and then either on your turn or your opponent's turn, you combo in one of the multicolors as a different one that plays itself in rest mode, and then your turn 2, you play the third multicolor, and now you have black, red, black, green, black, whatever, and you have 4 colors in total because you have your black, red, green, yellow, all on the board and energy. And then so the turn 2 Awaken is relatively consistent.
Can someone read the effect again? Because I'm almost guaranteed it says non-black colors.
No, I'm pretty sure it says colors. But I can check.
No, I think it's stated on the it's stated on the card that it's black. Black is a color.
Because here, I'm gonna try to read it. I got it really blurry on my phone here. But when this card attacks, resolve the effects below, according to the number of non-black colors present among. I can't read the fucking rest of it.
Yeah. But that's for the Awaken side. His Awaken ability, you only need to have black.
Oh yeah, the Awaken ability. I was talking about because how Armando was saying to stay on the back until you have 4, because you're not gonna draw when you swing unless you have all 5 colors in your energy. Because that's what I was talking about. That's why staying on the front as long as possible to get the searches. Yeah.
Right.
We're playing that well.
So it's basically minimum
tier
turn
1, but
no, yeah, minimum
your
turn
guys'
4.
takes are trash.
Yeah, you guys hate Applebee's, so that's a good enough take. That's great.
Yeah,
I don't even know what it is.
closing comments. We have there's Hermit style fight night, which is really exciting. The Dragon Ball Super League, Kaioken Cards is streaming it. That's Lucas. You guys can tune in on September 5th. That's the Sunday before Labor Day. I will be playing against Sublet from Team FOE. So if you want to watch me get clapped up by a player that's most certainly of a higher caliber than me, that's a good option. But I'm certainly going to do my best with the decks I'm bringing. I let the communities pick my deck, so it's going to be fun. All the cards are actually pretty cool. If you're not in the Hermit Style Discord, join it. It's the best way to get competitive content about the game. Other than that, go back and watch the old Fight Nights. They're a lot of fun. It's 3 different decks. Kind of a unique format. I always have a lot of fun doing them, so I'm excited to come back and do it again. I know Lucas has a lot of fun commentating them.
Damn right. So,
yeah, that's September 5th. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed my tier list. If you ever have any questions, comments, leave them in the section of the YouTube video. And because we always forget to say it, like and subscribe. We really appreciate it.
And stay super.
Oh wow, the face you did for that one.
I can't believe you did that.
Okay, start rapping. You open this can of worms. We'll get Nick to open his mic so you can get a reverb in the back. It'll be nice.
Good quality for you.
You might need to include all that because that was some money.
Oh,
jokes.
it's still recording. That's the best part.